have you ever had like really massive things go wrong in the weekend that you've had to deal with?
Yes. Let me think. 2015, we were filming a film called Loyal, and I tried to throw my keys to somebody, and there was, I don't know if anyone knows Berrinpore Park. There's a dog park there, and there's just like a bunch of trees and like a forest. And I thought, you know what's quicker? I'll throw my keys over that forest to the car. We go to Locksmith. They came and unlocked the car because we had the camera in the car.
Right.
So we did need that. Had to come back the next week with a metal detector to try to find the keys. Never found them. That was my first experience of trying to replace keys with a transponder, and much more expensive than you think when you're 21 and you don't have any money. Didn't have a car for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah.
So luckily we lived about 200 metres down the road, but we couldn't drive the car for the rest of the weekend. So that's a big one.
What is your guys' all-time favourite 48 Hours film and why?
That's really hard.
Kia ora koutou. Welcome to the Vista Foundation 48 Hours podcast. My name's Ruth. I'm one of the national managers, and I'm here with two of Couch Kumara, veteran team and 3 times Wellington winners. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, cool. I'm Finn. I run Couch Kumara, video production company here in Wellington, and sketch comedy group. Where Couch Kumara's been around for about 10 years, but the name's been around for about 16, and that's me.
Fantastic. Kia ora. I'm Ben, also with Couch Kumara. Well, I haven't been around for that long, since 2022. Yeah, but no, it's been a cool time.
Yeah, 2022 with Couch Kumara as a company, but he's been doing 48 Hours with us since 2018.
Yes, yeah, at my previous job, Rubber Monkey.
Little shout out to Rubber
Monkey. Little shout out.
Andrew Slater.
And so Couch Kumara is your production company, but it started as your 48 Hour team.
Well, it even started before that. It's really amorphous. Couch Kumara is more of like an idea. No, we came up with it in like late 2008 when we were in high school.
Sorry, when? How old were you guys then?
I was 14 in 2008, so do the math. But we needed a name for our budding sketch comedy group, obviously, as you do, and thought, the play on words, couch potato, Couch Kumara, how good. But then we kind of kept it as a comedy sketch group up until 2015 when I finished uni and started doing video production full time.
So you guys started at school, right? At high school, entering 48 Hours.
Yes.
What sort of sucked you into this madness?
I can't even really remember. 2010 was our first year. I think we had a friend who had heard of it. And I kind of vaguely heard of it through my cousin at the time. I didn't really know what it was, but this friend of ours kind of pushed us to do it. And we had a great time. Horrible film, but really great time. Yeah, 2010, yeah, Jesus.
And so 2011 was when you guys won Wellington for the first time?
Yeah, the following year. It was a real step up, got to say. 2010, loosely attached, to 2011, something changed. My brother was overseas. He helped us in 2010, and then he was over in London on a gap year in 2011. So maybe just him being gone, just kind of pushed me to really flourish. No, that can't be it. No, we just took it more seriously. I think 2011 we were making skits every other weekend that year. I'd bought like a Canon 60D, and I had a couple. Well, I didn't actually have any lighting, but I had some microphones and stuff, and I had some of the equipment. And I thought, I want to make comedy skits. And I had some friends at high school who were doing it as well with me. Just wrote them in. Then they have subsequently gone on to both work in the film industry or work in the video production industry since then, which is really cool. So they obviously had a liking for it.
Yeah, I remember that film because I was also in that final, and we were like, we've made the best film we've ever made. We can't not lose. We can't lose. Turns out we could lose because we saw your film and we were like, oh, that's really good. It's better than our film. And they're like in high school. Yeah.
To be fair, 2013 you guys did The Sleeping Plot, and it was like, oh, that's like ours, but just better in every way.
Yeah, we came back to take that out.
So it swings and roundabouts.
It is. And I mean, I think that's what's kind of interesting about this competition. And so how many times have you entered?
I think 14 times.
Awesome.
So I think so every year except because it wasn't on 2023.
Yeah, sorry about that.
So every year since then.
And I guess in that time, have you had some really successful films and also some failures?
Oh, some shitters. Yeah, for sure. I would say 2010, 2012. Well, we disqualified 2012. I mean, I love them all. I love all my films.
But so, I mean, let's talk about that because, let's talk about some of the one, like what do you think's made the really successful ones great? And then what do you think, as you say, the shitters, like how did that happen?
I mean, a number of things. I think the ones that haven't done as well have been like pure comedy. They've been comedy and not really any other genre. Whereas I think when we've mixed them with something else, whether that be like horror, drama, another element to it to add a little bit of depth and sometimes a little bit of heart to the story, kind of just elevates it. Because you can make, and we are used to making comedy sketches that are very light and, well, not necessarily light, but they're kind of just pure comedy in the sense that there's
And
not.
I guess 48 Hours is a film competition, so I suppose, it
Yeah.
needs to be a bit more than just a comedy sketch.
It has to feel like a
really-
short film. Like it has to
Yeah.
feel like you're watching a short film from start to finish. It has a complete story and feels like a production. Whereas a sketch can feel just like a little snippet of a anecdote, kind of. So yeah, definitely have to be elevated beyond a sketch.
What are your guys' favourite films and what do you think that they've been successful?
Of ours,
Yeah. Maybe which one? What was your favourite film that you've been involved in, Ben?
I'd say Plant is one of my favourites, and then probably Gutted, the most recent one.
Plant was
Yeah.
2019, and it was one of the years that we did Ultra, and it was a split screen one, and we had a lot of fun just working out the split screen. And just the concept was just like weird, and I just loved it.
Yeah. Super challenging, I think, those 2 years.
Yeah, Josh also like was basically the only character in that other than a plant, and he just did a really good job.
Do you think it kind of pushed you guys out of your comfort zone a bit and tried something new?
Oh, for sure. And we had to like completely gut a house, like take everything out of the house.
Yeah.
And we completely rewrote it as well on the Sunday morning. So we were editing into the Saturday and being like, this just isn't working. So we kind of just, so you never know, you can't be 100% sure that you've really nailed it up until you hand in the file. Actually, until you watch it in front of an audience. But 2024 last year, I think just a lot of elements came together. It felt like a bit of a dream team.
It was a great
We had
film.
Rosie and Connor and Liv and Tiff sort of coming from other teams. And so combining these three teams almost together, and it just worked out really well. And we didn't know if it would. Like I knew I'd be able to work with Connor and Liv and Tiff. We've worked together for years. Connor was in Couch Kumara pre-2018.
It's interesting because you guys have had some long-standing collaborations in 48 Hours, but also in real life.
Yeah, I mean, I've known Connor since 2005, 20 years.
Wow.
Ugh. But we were friends first, and then we started making films together, and then we were making 48 Hours up until he went to acting school, and he sort of started his own video thing, and now we sort of come back and collaborate occasionally on our personal and commercial stuff, yeah.
And do you think that's kind of successful working with people that you sort of develop a collaboration with?
100%.
Totally. Yeah.
I think like when Ben, you started working for us, like a large part of why I wanted Ben in Couch Kumara was because of his personality, because of how he got along with everyone, how he got along with me.
We're all friends first and like colleagues second. So
Yeah, because
when
I
it
think
comes to that relationship, it just feels like it is work, but it kind of doesn't really feel like work. And you tend to have a bit more fun on set. And
you can develop the skills, like you can learn, and you can, as long as you've got the interest. I think getting along is the like critical part.
It's certainly something we've seen in 48 Hours where it really makes collaborations, or people also say, wow, the thing I really learned is that I'd never want to work with that group of people again.
Yeah. Luckily, we've never had that. Like, there's not really been a 48 where we've come away from it thinking, I never want to work with that person again, which I think is just testament to the fact that we build our teams based on our friends. And as the years have gone by, more of our friends have been involved in video and film. So it's helped us just bring a high level of technical skill, but we've all been friends first.
You know, you guys are professionals, you make sketch comedy for a job, you also do some commercial work. Like, why are you still entering 48 Hours?
I'd say we do sketch comedy for fun and we do commercial work for a job. Why are we still doing 48 hours? I mean, we're all just a bunch of masochists, really, aren't we? No, I think it's just a lot of fun. Even though we do sketch comedy on the side, 48 hours is an opportunity to like bring everyone together and have a like more concentrated effort where people feel like there's a bit more of a point to why you're doing the film. Sketch comedy, like sometimes you're like, well, I've got a script, guys, you want to make a film? And they're like, yeah. It's like, oh, it's beautiful Sunday morning, you want to come and make it? Yeah. Like, you know, it gets to 2 p.m, you're like, yeah. Whereas 48 hours, I think everyone kind of, there's a sense that they have given up their weekend, dedicated it, and that brings, I think, just a different energy to the group. And I think everyone remembers like every 48 hours, like you have and you can kind of, I don't know, you can call back to every year and be like, oh, that was that experience doing 48 hours, that experience. Like you just have this kind of, as a marker for each year almost. But this is the year 15, so we may be coming near the end of our tenure.
No.
We'll see.
Be at this.
There might be a prize. We might sponsor a prize. Yeah.
Good work. That'll be great.
You've just said that on the record, by the
yeah,
way.
Well,
I know.
but I said I might sponsor a prize. That's, yeah.
What about you, Ben? Why do you keep coming back?
Honestly, I don't know.
Fair enough.
No, it's always a massive challenge, eh? There's a massive difference between shooting comedy skits, I think, and then doing a 48. I think there's just so many more elements involved. And like Finn said, having a massive team involved. And I don't know, I can't help myself, but I just seem to come back every year. And, you know, I think on the day I'm like, you know, fuck this. I'm over this, I want to go home, I want to go to bed. And then you watch the film and you're like, oh, this is amazing. And then next year rolls around and you're like, oh shit, I got to do it again.
It's what I imagine giving birth would be like. You forget the pain. Right?
Well,
in a way.
You know, I mean,
I don't know if we're qualified to say that.
I'm not qualified to say that, but it's what I imagine.
yeah.
You can
I
cut
mean,
it out.
I suppose there's parallels. Yeah, I'd say there's some parallels. You know, it's just that your 48-hour film gets finished and then your child keeps you up for the next many years of your life. So,
I would also say that it's probably like a mixture of like a bigger commercial shoot and a comedy sketch because you've got a little more organisation, a little more structure. So when we do like a TV commercial, it's like you have quite a large team, and because you've got a large team, you kind of have to be organised. You can't really be like mucking around and wasting time. Whereas on the skits are smaller, less stakes, kind of. Even though there's not really stakes in 48 hours, you either do or you don't. We're not doing it to win. We're doing it to have a good weekend.
it's kind of interesting. I feel like the further through or the longer the teams have been doing the competition, the less they're about winning and the more they're about just having a really great time on the weekend.
When you repeatedly don't win, you have to make it feel like it's not about the winning.
Yeah, I mean, you
Otherwise,
guys
you just
have
don't
also repeatedly won though. So.
Not the whole thing, but yeah.
Yeah, when that happens, then we'll stop, I think.
Yeah, year 30 or something.
30.
So you just keep getting those sponsors. We'll keep joining.
Or yeah.
No, I can't make promises.
Or you have kids and then they'll want to do it and then you'll have to stop, which also happens. Could you guys talk us through your 48-hour process, and like when does that begin? Does that begin on Friday at 7 p.m. or does that begin, months earlier? Like what talk us through your process, setup, weekend. How do you structure it?
Because we work in a video production environment, we have our systems kind of in place. We know how our editing flow works. We know how our ingesting, shooting, writing. We kind of have those systems in place. But in previous years, we have, or at least I've spent the previous few days, previous few weeks putting the team together. So we have our crew and cast organised. We don't know obviously what they're going to do, like the roles and stuff, but we know who's going to be in the team. We don't know where we're going to shoot. We don't know what our costumes are going to be, but you kind of just have to have a few options available. You want to have like a house. You want to have like some sort of outdoor area, some urban, some maybe a rural option. Like just depends. But then we do a little bit of testing. We used to do more testing of the software and things to make sure everything's working smoothly because it never does. It's just like cursed. I don't know what it is, but because we make videos every day in our jobs and it very rarely screws up as badly as it does in 48 hours. So I would just say test more than you think you need to do. Because this year it'll probably screw up for us again, even if we do like fastidiously test.
Do you guys sleep?
We try and get
Sunday?
a few good early nights in, I think, leading up. During that week, we tend to do a little bit of less corporate work, I'd say, if we can.
Don't tell the clients that.
Don't tell the clients that, yeah.
We know we're working hard on their stuff.
Yeah, always. But yeah, it sort of just focuses our mind and getting the team together and testing software and stuff. So we try and keep our environment and our space as calm as possible, I guess.
Yeah, you don't
leading up to the weekend, because
Yeah.
it's going to be pretty relentless and the place is going to be a mess.
You don't want to be like working on an edit on the Friday. Like you
Yeah.
want to leave the Friday pretty clear to just
Right. So you guys sort of almost do that kind of mental calm preparation.
Yeah.
Sleep in on Friday. It's a good start because that just gives you that extra edge of you've had some extra sleep.
Yeah.
But also, like, we don't these days go to bed that late. Really, we do prioritize sleep because in previous years we've sometimes not slept at all for one of the nights, and then you just feel like shit. Like you don't get anything done. You're not productive. You're not creative. You can't think clearly. So like, you could either have those extra few hours of being totally unproductive, or you can get sleep and feel a bit better.
Yeah, people often stress about the upcoming weekend of 48 and they can lose a lot of sleep over it, but the more you focus on being calm in the leading days, like it'll help you tenfold over the weekend.
And have all your gear ready to go.
Yeah.
We have all our gear pretty well organized into bags and cases. So like, depending on what the shoot is, we know what lights we're taking. We know what camera lenses, whatever we're taking. So we just make sure everything's like tidy, ready to go. I might bake some cookies, keep morale up. But on the Friday, we'll get run over to the studio. We've got a little office in town. Get run over to the studio, do a bit of a brainstorming session where we all watch the countdown, have a couple of drinks, not too many.
One or two.
One or two.
But
And
too many
then not
doesn't-
too many. It can really quickly derail the process. And you'll just feel really bad in the morning.
You guys there's a lot of self-care, it sounds like, in your 48 hours process.
As we get older,
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
in life in general, self-care becomes more important. And as in 48 hours, yeah. So you get together as a kind of like the full team will come together most of the time. And we'll do like a bit of a brainstorming session. Then we might kind of peer off into like smaller groups for the actual script writing. And we often don't get all the script writing done on the Friday. We just kind of have like a skeleton script. We kind of know basically a treatment of what the video is. We know where we're filming, what the roles are, what gear we're going to need, that sort of stuff. So in the Saturday morning, we can quickly load the van or the car and just like go.
And so do you improv quite a bit on set as you go?
Yeah. We because our talent, our actors are used to improving from our other sketches and stuff. That's just, we try to leave room in the script for that because that's often where like the gold is. But you want to shoot the script as well. So if you have written a script, shoot the script and then try to budget in time to do extra stuff outside the script.
And have you ever had like really massive things go wrong in the weekend that you've had to deal with?
Yes. Let me think. 2015, we were filming a film called Loyal, and I tried to throw my keys to somebody, and there was, I don't know if anyone knows Berrinpaw Park. There's a dog park there, and there's just like a bunch of trees and like a forest. And I thought, you know what's quicker? I'll throw my keys over that forest to the car. Had to come back the next week with a metal detector to try to find the keys. Never found them. That was my first experience of trying to replace keys with a transponder, and much more expensive than you think when you're 21 and you don't have any money.
And also just a terrible thing.
Didn't have a car for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah.
So luckily we lived about 200 metres down the road, but what did we leave in the car? No, that's not true. We got a locksmith. They came and unlocked the car
Oh,
because we had the camera in the car.
Right.
So we did need that, but we couldn't drive the car for the rest of the weekend. So that's a big one. Other things that have gone wrong, getting it in late, pretty big problem. We had, was it the Herald, I think, interviewed us in 2012 after our win in 2011 during the shoot weekend. Bit annoying, I've got to say. Nice of them to offer, to profile us, but during the weekend, we were in the middle of filming.
Quite a distraction.
Quite a distraction. Yeah, I mean, there's always problems. There's always rewrites. There's always like pickups.
And do you think being able to kind of have that resilience to deal with those kinds of issues, do you think that's something that you bring into your kind of commercial life?
Yeah, totally. Because like clients, we love you guys. We love you, all of you.
We love all of our clients equally.
Yep. But
Some of them are perhaps
but
more challenging than others?
Well, yeah, totally. So you have to be able to like think on your feet and just if there's limitations with what the client can provide, you have to be able to, adapt. And so I think that kind of goes for any role, any job, really. You can't be too rigid. But certainly when you're trying to like provide a service for a client, you need to be able to adapt to their needs and wants, for sure.
And I think you can trial a lot of those mistakes in shooting skits and doing 48, because when you're on the commercial set, and if you mess up like that, like it's that kind of stuff costs a lot of money.
It's not ideal.
It's not ideal. No.
But we never do.
No.
Never screw up
Not
on
once.
commercial sets.
All right, I've got 2 more questions for you guys. What is your guys' all-time favourite 48 Hours film and why?
That's really hard. What was the one? Oh, I did love. What was the name of the Download Concept? Josh Thompson's team, the badminton one.
Yeah.
I think is probably my favorite of all time. Sleeping Plot, potentially a close second, but that just great film, stands up to this day. Yeah,
That's quite an old one. So what was
2006, I think.
Yeah.
what was so great about it?
I mean, it was just the characters, like the characters in the story. Like it was this old grizzled guy coaching this young dude who was clearly not built to play badminton, and it was shot in a way I think that was quite new and interesting for the time, but it's just held up in the same way like the Office style was a new method of TV, but it still holds up in most ways. And the Download Concept, the Sleeping Plot was just a great story, like, and kind of everything came together really nicely. And we were super jealous. So,
What about you, Ben?
Oh gosh, I can't remember the name of it, but I think it was the same year as Kiwiana's Gigantus.
2022.
2022. The woman who gets her period in the bathroom.
Oh, Red River.
Red River. Yeah, I loved that.
That was almost like to watch that in the embassy. I remember talking to Dame Galen Preston about that film, and she was like, gosh, we want to get women involved in film, and then we give them, was it horror? Maybe, can't remember what it was, but anyway, she was like, "Oh, I just love it." She was,
it was phenomenal. Like,
That was
I
really
still
good.
think about that.
And the way it was shot as well, super creative, really wide
Yeah.
angles, and
Yeah.
because they just shot the whole thing in the bathroom.
yeah, simple, but
yeah.
just a really, banging
cool.
story. People always ask about trying to get good sound, because it really does mess up your film and really doesn't get your story across if the sound's bad. Do you have any kind of advice or tips or tricks for people, especially people that don't have maybe fancy gear, to actually get decent sound during the 48 hours?
Totally. Free trials on any sort of sound library, Artlist, create 10 emails if you need to. It only needs to be active for 2 days, and just get as much stuff as you can. Get a microphone from anyone get half decent location sound, of trees rustling, of the river flowing, of people walking on dirt roads or something.
And get plates if you're shooting on sticks. Like if you're shooting on a tripod
Yes.
and you can't get the microphone close, do a plate
Do a plate as a shot without the microphone in it.
to then composite onto the shot.
Yes.
Yes.
And you can get really close with the microphone. But honestly, there's just make a new email, and get a free trial just for the weekend, and then make sure you cancel it, otherwise they will charge you a lot of money. And then once you downloaded them, you get to keep them forever. So just go crazy. Download the whole library if you can, and just keep it on a hard drive.
Yeah.
Great.
So
Maybe not the most ethical tip, but
I mean, use the resources you got, right?
it's expensive. It's
Yeah.
really expensive.
Yeah, it is.
And like, if you can take advantage with some of those, free trial periods, then just go crazy.
Awesome. All right. And what do you guys love about 48 Hours? What's the best thing about it?
End on an easy one.
Or you can
It's-
leave us with advice. That's the other option.
Well, at 48 hours, it's reliable. It's only been 1 year in the time I've been doing it that it hasn't happened. And it's just a lot of fun. Like, I'm not sure we've ever had a year where we finish it and we're like, no, that was just a waste of time. Like, even the 1 year we got disqualified, we still felt like we'd achieved something. I think, you just never regret it. You never regret it. Yeah.
48, use that opportunity as a testing ground, I think, for any of your creative ideas, because you lose nothing out of the experience, I think. Yeah.
You also get an opportunity to make like a short film, like
Yeah.
for free, basically. Like you'll get buy-in from friends to just make a film, and you could theoretically enter that in competitions if you wanted to.
Yeah,
if you're happy
because you
with
can
it.
go back and read it. I mean, I suppose
Yeah.
that's the thing we say. It's like it's really hard to get people to show up for like a week to do your short film, but
Yeah.
for some reason they'll just give you an entire weekend, not sleep, and
Yeah.
because there's also an end point, so they know that you'll stop asking them for favours at that point. I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
But it's the competition, right? It was not the competition part. It's the 48 Hours franchise that makes people do that. Like you couldn't just say to somebody, "We're doing a weekend of shooting, starting at 7, ending at 7." Like they'd be like, "Why? Why
They'd be
such
like,
a
"No,
weird? Why
thanks."
such a strict time period?" And no, but the competition gives them a reason. Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, well, thanks for chatting, guys.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah, best wishes with this year's competition.
Thank
See
you.
if you
Doing it
can.
again.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
You know,
So
Bring
you
it
can
home.
get the big one this time.
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't
it's
matter.
all about having fun.
Exactly. Fun is king. Story is king.
Story is king. And don't skimp out on the audio.
Audio, I've said it before in the panel, but audio makes or breaks a film. And he's the audio guy.
I'm the audio guy.
So
yeah.
really the whole film rests on his shoulders.
Don't say it like that.
Yeah.
I think it was.
No, it's all him. It's all
It was
him.
gutted.
If he screws up, it just ruins the whole production. And he knows that. And he carries that on his shoulders, and we're all just so impressed.
I can see why you zen it up in the.
Yeah, last year was the first time I did all the sound for 48, and I didn't actually attend the heats because I was so nervous that it would sound like shit. And
Sounded
then,
great.
Yeah, and then we went to the regional finals and we got it. So can't be that bad.
Nah.
Oh, it was
good.
pretty good. Cool. Hey, thanks, guys. That's awesome.
Awesome. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thanks
Great
for
to be
having
here.
us.